I find that I'm sick of the not a genuine Jag contention before I even hear it. It's valid that, much like a large portion of my partners and a considerable lot of you, I'm a devotee of quick, smooth, race-drive Jaguar sports autos and cars, similar to the F-Type and XF. Yet, moaning about this new E-Pace of front-drive one-sided, all-wheels driven, little SUV before turning a wheel is, well, overlooking the main issue. Simply ahead and embed some standard remark here about little hybrids assuming control over the world. However, I really think the fact of the matter is exactly how damn alluring the E-Pace looks, flashing in the Mediterranean morning sun. I'm in, out of every other place on earth, Corsica, and Jaguar's new little ute is looking at any rate extremely ready to assume the part of island navigating friend. Until this trek to France, I've just observed the E-Pace in pictures. Unmistakably, two measurements don't do this vehicle equity. Puma originators have keenly masked the height and general mass of the SUV, permitting the effortless body side and strong backside to direct the look. With wheels 20-inch wheels on account of the auto I'm driving, however, with a flooring 21-inch alternative accessible pushed out to the corners to genuinely commute home the dawning expectations. From the dead front and back perspectives, it's less demanding to see the utility vehicle extends at around 65 inches high. It's taller than an Audi Q3, however shorter than a BMW X3. Be that as it may, the long wheelbase and short shades make it sexier than anything this side of an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Clean outside styling hasn't affected inside volume, fortunately. At a monstrous 6 feet and 5 inches, I have no issue discovering space to work behind the E-Pace guiding wheel. Furthermore, a getter at the spec sheet backs this up. Among the most strident rivalry of the Jaguar, just the half-measure bigger X3 offers more head, leg, and shoulder room, in both the front seats and back. From an ergonomic point of view, just the poor rearward perceivability bargains the experience. Effortlessness, pace, and space it might have, yet E-Pace doesn't convey on those conventional brand esteems generally. It is, as the cynics are wont to gripe about, based on a front-drive engineering with a transversely mounted, turbocharged 4-barrel motor under its limit front hood. The E-Pace I'm driving has the discretionary active driveline to battle the feared front-drive feeling. The all-wheel drive framework conveys torque on request to the back wheels, and vectors it cleared out or appropriate by method for two electrically controlled wet plate grips. In unfaltering state cruising, the dynamic driveline withdraws from the back hub totally, in any case, and works as front drive as it were. It's reasonable to specify that this framework is just accessible on the E-Pace with the all the more capable motor. More on that in a moment. I need to state that this differential-less, electronic craftiness influences the E-Pace deal with and additionally some other Jag, yet that would be an embellishment. At any rate, on a really long time of stunning Corsican mountain streets, the SUV doesn't exactly get over its front-drive nature. When I push on this super specialized course, there's discernible understeer. In the event that I back the pace off a bit, the move of hand over control on turns into significantly more liquid, notwithstanding. Indeed, regardless of the stunning excellence of my environment, plainly this auto would demonstrate better on streets more like those I would discover back home in Michigan. The electrically helped controlling has pleasant weight, and is sensibly brisk, all things considered, and the versatile suspension very skilled at smoothing the ride over intermittent patches of bumpy street. In the majority of the huge metro advertises in the US, with bunches of expressway driving punctuated by the intermittent Sunday impact, I'd bet the E-Pace would be reasonably athletic for most customers of extravagant little utility vehicles. The case is helped by the consideration of the discretionary dynamic damping framework. However, I'll have to drive the sucker in Detroit to truly push its points of confinement. Puma minders are quick to flaunt the points of confinement of the E-Pace rough terrain, as well. I spend a strong hour rolling over unchanged streets and tracks, up slopes of rutted rock, and through no less than 1 foot profound stream. The programmed AWD framework is up to every last bit of it, which means, I will figure, that any certifiable E-Pace purchasers ought to be fit as a fiddle for frigid climate and the infrequent messy side trip. My mount, and truth be told, The greater part of the test autos accessible to drive wears the R-Dynamic trim level, which means it has a 296 torque, 295 pound-feet 2.0 T4 inspiration, as opposed to the base 246 horsepower, 269 lb-ft variation. The motor can rest easy and really sounds truly great, too. Puma discloses to me the R-Dynamic e-Pace will make the 0-60 mph run in 5.9 seconds, 0.7 seconds speedier than the base model, yet more essentially when I press my foot to the floor the growl of the fumes note entreats me to hold it down. On the twisting streets around this island, the turbo torque is very much connected by the 9-speed ZF program transmission, particularly when the Jaguar Drive Control's dynamic drive mode has enhanced throttle reaction and move times. In normal mode the transmission programming battles to keep pace with the constant flow of downshifts this landscape requires, yet ought to be appropriate to urban cruising. I imagine that Jaguar has overseen a significant accomplishment with its new child, that is to regard the brand's key esteems while bargaining enough to be focused in each part of an exceptionally aggressive portion. The e-Pace may not trip daintily crosswise over Corsica like an E-Type, yet flawless dealing with, great power, great bundling, and a strong valuing plan ought to have you cross-shopping it versus the German and Japanese opponents. e-Pace evaluating keeps running over an immense range, from the $38,600 base model, up to the decked-out R-Dynamic HSE at $53,100. Before I can present my supposition on the sweet spot of the range, I'll require time in more than one trim and an example of the less intense motor. However, on looks and bundling alone I give the Jag a battling shot. It'll more likely than not wind up plainly one of the automaker's successes, if memorable patterns remain constant, and deservedly so. We may all fantasy of having a F-Type sneaking in our home carport, simply sitting tight for a shining day to remind us why we begin to look all starry-eyed at Jaguar in the first place. Be that as it may, for whatever remains of the time, in all climate, and for some, more utilized cases, the e-Pace is only the non-standard Jag we require.